It's funny, the things you miss. I never thought I'd miss the hiss and crackle of an old-school radio. In a world of perfect digital streams and curated playlists, there's something raw, something real about twisting a dial and hunting for a signal. That's why I bought the old majestic radio at a dusty antique shop. It was a beautiful thing, all polished wood and glowing amber dial, a relic from a time before I was born. I brought it home, plugged it in, and after a moment of warm-up hum, the air filled with that familiar, comforting static. The first time I heard it, I almost missed it. I was just turning the dial, looking for some late-night jazz, when I passed through a dead spot. In that brief second of pure white noise, I heard a laugh. A little girl's laugh. It was so quick, so faint, I told myself it was just a trick of the static, my brain making patterns out of chaos. But it sounded familiar. It sounded like my sister Lily, when we were kids, playing hide-and-seek in our grandmother's overgrown garden. I shook my head, a sad smile on my face. Lily's been gone for 20 years. It was just wishful thinking, but it kept happening. A few nights later, I was listening to a call-in show, and as the host cut to a commercial, the static swelled for a moment. This time, it was a voice. "Danny, dinner's ready." Clear as a bell, my mom's voice. The exact way she used to call me from the kitchen, her voice carrying up the stairs to my childhood bedroom. My heart hammered against my ribs. I scrambled to turn the dial back, but it was gone, replaced by an ad for a local car dealership. I sat there in the dark, my hand trembling, the hairs on my arms standing on end. This wasn't just my imagination. I started to become obsessed. I'd spend hours every night, not listening to the music, but listening asterisk between asterisk the music. I'd turn the dial slowly, millimeter by millimeter, searching for those dead frequencies, those pockets of pure static. And the voices were always there, waiting. It was like a scrapbook of my past, broadcast just for me. I heard my dad humming his favorite tune as he worked in the garage. I heard my best friend from high school, Mark, telling that stupid joke that always made me laugh. I even heard my first girlfriend, Sarah, whispering, "I love you," just like she did on that warm summer night by the lake. At first, it was wonderful. It was like having them all back. These precious, lost moments, rescued from the ether. I felt less alone than I had in years. I started recording it. I set up my phone next to the radio, capturing hours of static. I'd listen back, headphones on, picking out the fragments of my life. It was my secret comfort, a ghost world I could visit whenever I wanted. I told myself it was a gift, a strange, unexplainable miracle. How could this be happening? I didn't care. It was enough that it was. Then, things started to change. The tone shifted. The nostalgia began to curdle into something else. One night, I was listening to the static, and I heard my dad again. But this time, he wasn't humming. He was arguing with my mom. It was a fight I'd forgotten, a nasty one from when I was a teenager. Their voices were sharp, angry, laced with a bitterness that chilled me to the bone. "You always do this, Helen. Don't you dare put this on me, Frank." The memory, buried for decades, came rushing back with sickening clarity. I quickly turned the radio off, my hands shaking. The happy memories started to fade, replaced by the ones I'd tried so hard to forget. I heard Lily, not laughing, but crying after she fell off her bike and scraped her knee. I heard the sickening crunch of metal from the car accident that took Mark away from us. I heard Sarah's voice, choked with tears, the night she told me she was leaving. The radio was no longer a comfort. It was a curator of my pain, replaying my worst moments, my deepest regrets, on an endless loop. I should have thrown it away. I should have smashed it to pieces. But I couldn't. I was addicted to the dread, a moth drawn to a flame that was burning me alive. I had to know what would come next. I felt like I was losing my mind, caught between the living world and this echo chamber of sorrow. I stopped sleeping. I stopped eating. My world shrank to the four walls of my living room and the menacing glow of that amber dial. The final broadcast came last night. I was huddled on the floor, the radio crackling in front of me, my phone recording as always. The static was thicker, heavier than ever before. Then the voices started, but they weren't separate anymore. They were all talking at once. My mom calling for dinner, my dad yelling, Lily crying, Mark laughing, Sarah whispering. It was a horrifying chorus, a cacophony of my entire life, all jumbled together. The sounds overlapped, twisted, and distorted into an unintelligible storm of noise. And then, through the chaos, one voice cut through, louder than the rest. It was my voice. Not my voice now, but my voice from that night by the lake with Sarah. I heard myself whisper back, I love you too. But then the recording kept going. The memory kept playing. I heard Sarah say, You promise you'll never leave? And I heard my younger self reply, I promise. A promise I broke. As my own lie echoed in the room, all the other voices stopped. The cacophony ceased. There was only static. A deep, roaring static that sounded like a million angry whispers. And in the heart of that roar, I heard a new sound. It was a voice I didn't recognize. It was low, guttural, and it was laughing. A long, slow, mocking laugh that seemed to crawl right inside my skull. I ripped the plug from the wall. The radio went silent. The amber light died. The sudden quiet was more terrifying than the noise. I sat there in the dark for what felt like hours. This morning, I haven't dared to plug it back in. But I have the recording. I've been listening to it all day, trying to make sense of it. The overlapping voices, my own lie, and that laugh. I can't get it out of my head. The scariest part is, as I listen to the recording on my phone, I can still hear the static in the background. And sometimes, just for a second, when I pause the playback, I think I can still hear the laughing.